This is the Financial Beat, helping you hit all the right notes in your financial plan. So sit back as we strike up the band. The Financial Beat with Logan Sadler starts now.
Welcome to the Financial Beat with Logan Sadler, VP, Chief Investment Officer at Regary Financial, serving you wherever you happen to be in Southern California. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm Ron Stutz. Always get a chance to hang out with Logan on this show. And Logan, it's great to be back with you.
Great to be back, Ron. Hopefully you guys all have had a great week thus far and rocking ready to roll here on a good show.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about getting everybody to and through retirement and do it specifically. In other words, it's always an individual situation because everybody's situation is unique. The number to call if you'd like to have a discovery meeting with Logan Sadler is 888-823-PLAN. That number will allow you to arrange a time to sit down and have a talk with Logan one-on-one or one-on-two, I guess I should say, if there are two people in the relationship. And you can get to know him, he can get to know you, and you can get some ideas and get a lot of wisdom just from that opening conversation, and it's not going to cost you 1 cent. 888-823-PLAN. That is 888-823-PLAN. I'll give you that number again later on in the show. I got a quote of the month here for you, or quote of the week, I should say. I enjoy waking up and not having to go to work, so I do it 3 or 4 times a day. I don't know who said that, but it makes sense, and it's all about being retired, I guess.
Absolutely. They're saying, hey, if I'm so happy to wake up and not have to go to work, I'm going to do it multiple times per day.
Feel free to take a nap if you have a relaxing retirement, and you can take a nap whenever you want. You don't have to answer to anybody, right?
And celebrate when you wake up, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so. I have good news and bad news. Explain why the good news in these statements might not exactly be good enough to offset the bad news. And I'm talking about conversations that you've had with some of your clients or potential clients, as most people prefer. We'll give you the bad news first. All right?
Let's do it.
All right. If you tell someone the bad news is that you still have a lot of debt, but the good news is that some of that interest you're paying is tax deductible, that wouldn't be a very wise statement to make, would it?
No, not always justifiable, right? There obviously is some times where, yeah, you can keep debt on the books if you have a sufficient amount of assets to kind of cover that, but you don't want to, just have a bunch of debt because you're thinking you're doing some great tax planning, right? It's not always the best part. Now, obviously, there is instances where you could, on certain real estate investments, things of that sort, where you could use the debt to your advantage in some cases, but to be honest, most of the time, that is not typically going to be enough of a pro to keep that debt super high on other assets. So, and it's funny, I see some people talk about debt and they're like, oh yeah, but debt is really good. And it's like, well, ma'am, you have, $18,000 in credit card debts from Target. I don't know if that was good debt, right? So there's different things where there's good debt and bad debt, and there is some times where you can use it for tax deductions, but most of the time, that's the bad news I got to tell you, is most of the time, it does not work out that way on certain assets. So you want to make sure you're working diligently to make sure that you have the right pieces in place to make sure that you're not just getting the bad news on that.
Let's say that somebody comes in to see you for the first time and you look into their portfolio and you see what they have and they say, well, the bad news is that this mutual fund hasn't performed very well, but the good news is that the fees are pretty low. What would you say to that?
It's funny. We've talked on other shows about people being super fee conscious, right? Mm-hmm. And and I get it. Like I said, you don't want to overpay for things. You want to make sure that you're paying what you need to pay, but not more than you need to pay in some instances. And it's funny because low fees are great. I'm a huge fan of low fees. If we can get lower fees in a client's portfolio on the funds and things of that sort, then that's awesome. But you kind of want them to perform, right? I mean, you obviously, the whole point of putting money in there is not just to have a low fee, it's to have a return over a period of time. So you want to make sure that, the low fees are great, but if you have them in a low fee fund or low fee, investment, and it's not making a return over a period of time, then obviously it might be worth it to pay a little bit of money to get a return. So it's very important that you understand that. And I tell a lot of people out there, there's obviously good funds, bad funds, good investments, bad investments, all that stuff. stuff. But you want to make sure that you're not just looking for fees. I think I've said this before, where some people say, I want to pay the least amount of money in my retirement and fees as possible, and I want the cheapest advisor and all that. And I get the concept behind that, but a lot of the times that's not really the truth, right? You just don't want to pay too much. You want to pay someone the fair amount, but you're not looking to get Joe Blow up the street. You want someone qualified, and obviously we know you got to pay for someone that's qualified. So it's very important to look at the good news and the bad news in this is, yes, the fees are low, but you're not making any money, or the performance hasn't been well. So it's very important that you take more of a deeper dive and more comb through those investments and make sure you're finding the right fit return wise and cost wise.
Okay, here's another one for you. I have good news and bad news is the topic here. And the bad news is that you don't have enough money to pay for your nursing home care, but the good news is that Medicaid will step in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know who was telling them this, right?
Yeah.
But yes, there is government programs out there that can assist and things like that. But I'll be honest with you, most of the time, it's better if you can control your own future, right? If you ask most people what they want in life, we want to control what we do tomorrow, right? We want to control that, and by having the right assets put in place, the right long-term care coverage, all that stuff in place, it's going to give you the control you need to make sure you can decide what facilities you want to go to. You want to be at home. Where do you want to be? You're able to have a lot more control over who takes care of you, where you're at, all that stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily rely on government programs because they're not always the most dependable, right? Those programs do change. All that stuff comes into play. Do you qualify? All that stuff. So it's very, very important. The bad news in this is there's no, I don't really see much good news in this. So it's very important to know that you want to be in control of your own destiny. And like I've talked about before, the long-term care conversation we're having with clients has really changed over the last few years, where things have gotten a lot better for the client, and it's very important you have that realistic conversation and decide on how you want to cover that and how you want to tackle that obstacle when that situation presents itself.
Okay, the last one I wanted to mention here, and I can hear this conversation going on with other so-called financial advisors, people who set themselves up as experts and really don't care that much about their clients. The bad news is that your portfolio just lost 40%, but the good news is it's going to come back eventually.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of the times this conversation is had with traditional advisors who might not take the time it takes to understand a client's risk tolerance or understand the client's emotions.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, like you said, Ron, the good news is you're down 40%, but at some point it's coming back. Might be tomorrow, it might be in 5 years, right? That's the thing that the advisor nor the client has any insight to when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's very important that when you're putting together, again, now if you're 20 years old and your account goes down, it's going to come back in your lifetime, right? You're going to be fine. Keep putting your money away, stay consistent, think long term. All those concepts are very, very valid, and they have a lot of proof to them. Now, where this doesn't always work is the client that's retiring or retired. This is where it could be very, very troubling and can really cause problems. Because, let's say you had $1 million, you go down 40%, you lost $400,000. How would that affect your retirement? Probably would put a little bit of a twist in it, right?
Yeah.
Just without doing some quick math, some napkin math. That's a hard equation to solve for. How do we make up $400,000 so I could retire or stay retired? So it's so important that when you're getting a retirement plan put together or you're close to retirement, you want to make sure you're taking the right amount of risk tolerance, the right amount of acceptance of loss for what you're comfortable with and what your situation allows. I have some clients where they are situated where they can go down 30 or 40% and be okay with their market money because we have other assets that are going to still produce cash flow. We have pensions, we have annuities, we have Social Security, but we have other clients where they can't go down 40%. It would be, their income would be severely affected. So it's so important that I think you understand what situation you're at and what cards you're dealt and how you're going to make those best work for you is so important. And that's part of what we do. If you're looking for a financial advisor, a lot of you guys listen to the show. This is great content for you to stay educated, to stay up to date on laws, regulations, and investment trends. But a lot of you are wanting more out of the show. You might be looking for a financial advisor that you either have one and don't feel like you're getting the proper use out of that advisor, or you're out there looking for one because you're getting close to retirement. You saved up a good hunk of money and you're looking to find the best way to navigate through retirement. And that's exactly what that discovery meeting is for. If you call 888-823-PLAN, you can get an hour complimentary with myself, and we will sit down at either one of our offices or over Zoom and really take a deep dive into your retirement, find your risk tolerance, and I might have to give you some bad news, but more often than not, I'll probably give you some good news. So it's very important to make that phone call if you're getting close to retirement and sit down with an advisor that helps people retire and live that longevity and that happy, free, and peace of mind retirement that you're looking for. So give us a call. I'd love to spend an hour with you.
That's what we're all after, peace of mind. Logan Sadler can help provide that. And first, you got to talk to him. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call to make it happen. 888-823-PLAN. You can get a discovery meeting going that's not going to cost you a penny and not going to obligate you to do anything beyond that. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call. Logan Sadler is the Vice President and Chief Investment Officer at Regary Financial, serving you with convenient offices in Hemet and Redlands, and would love to have a conversation with you in either of the offices or on Zoom. You can do it that way as well with technology the way it is today. 888-823-PLAN. It's not going to cost you anything at all. Why would you not take advantage of the opportunity to gain lots of wisdom about your financial situation? 888-823-PLAN. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
At the end of the day, no one truly understands your financial wants and desires better than you. That's why it's important to have financial independence. This means you can work when you want, you know exactly where your income is coming from, and most importantly, your finances are stable. If this sounds like something you want, well, text the word ADVICE to the number 21000. And Logan Sadler and his team at Regary Financial can provide you with their free guide on achieving financial independence. The free guide will show you how to create an action plan for getting to where you want to be. It'll explain how to calculate a financial independence goal. And it'll define what an ICE egg is and why it's so important. Download it now by texting the word ADVICE to the number 21000. Again, text the word ADVICE to the number 21000 to gain your financial independence today.
Do you ever find yourself skipping through countless songs trying to find the perfect one? Yeah, we've been there too, and know it can be frustrating. Much like skipping through the countless advertisements from other financial advisors, it can seem like there's so much misinformation. But here on the Financial Beat, you can rest assured we're providing you with the best information possible. So don't push skip on this show, because we have some important information coming up.
Welcome back to the Financial Beat. The beat goes on, as they say. Logan Sadler is on the radio. And go tell everybody you know, because you're probably going to learn a lot listening to the rest of the show. We appreciate your being here. 888-823-PLAN. That is 888-823-PLAN. Your number to call if you'd like to arrange a discovery meeting with Logan Sadler, 888-823-PLAN. Hey, Logan is not only on the radio, but Logan, I know you have a variety of podcasts that are available for folks out there, and your YouTube channel, a lot of great videos there that are instructional and also, I think, entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. We sure hope so. And for those of you that haven't, you can head over to wherever you download podcasts. If you like this show, there's over 60 episodes recorded and uploaded on the podcast format. And again, wherever you download podcasts, that might be on Amazon, at Spotify, Apple Music. You can type in The Financial Beat with Logan Sadler and download over 60 episodes of podcasts at your convenience, no matter what time, day or night, or where you're at, and listen to those, as well as we have the YouTube channel for those of you that might want more specific topics and slow down to that specific topic. You can head over to YouTube and type in The Financial Beat, and you can download. Again, there's over 20 videos now uploaded on there on 401ks, on risk, on retirement income, Social Security, real estate questions, all that stuff. So you can head over there and check those out at your convenience on our YouTube channel. Again, the name for either of those is The Financial Beat with Logan Sadler.
Hey, Logan, let's talk about 401ks, which is really a main topic of conversation lots of times on this show.
Absolutely.
And I thought today we could address some frequent questions that you get from listeners about their 401ks.
Perfect.
On the subject of free advice or advice for a very low fee, some companies offer this to their employees. Is it a good idea to take advantage of that or not?
Yeah, that is a great point. There is some 401k providers out there that do offer some free advice. I know some of the bigger companies out there, you can call in the 800 number and talk to one of their reps over there. And, it could be, if you're asking simple questions, it could be a good thing for you. The thing I'm not very fond of is a lot of them, yes, they have the licenses. Yes, they're smart. A lot of them mean well, but a lot of them aren't financial planners. A lot of them don't know a lot of the retirement ins and outs, right? So if you're calling in there to get retirement advice, a lot of the times you're not getting the full picture. They're very great to ask if you're saying, hey, what funds do I have available in my 401k? Is this one aggressive or conservative, right? They can navigate you through that. Again, they're licensed professionals, but a lot of them don't have a specific niche, right? So like I said, if you're calling up there to get a full comprehensive retirement plan together and you're calling the 800 number, you're probably not going to get the most customized, comprehensive planning done. But if you're just calling up for, hey, I'm trying to take a loan or I have a question on this, that's what they're there for. A lot of them can give you some great advice, and a lot of them don't charge much in fees, so you can get that at a lower cost. But a lot of people want more than just some generic advice. They want more comprehensive planning, and that's where you would reach out to, if you're at that right time frame, where you'd reach out to somebody like us or us and make sure you're working with an advisor that can help you kind of navigate more than just the 401k into your financial plan.
Okay, here's another question for you in regards to 401ks. How about 401k loans? Good idea or a bad idea?
What's funny is I read this article a few months back and I forgot to save it because it was one of those things I was like, even as an advisor, I was just mind blown to know about the loan provisions and things like that in the 401ks. It was put out by an article and they were talking about Vanguard or Fidelity, one of the two biggest, 401k providers. And the headline was, "Why is my 401k bleeding?" Right? And I was like, man, that sounds scary. I got to take a look at that, right?
Yeah, really.
And so I was reading through it, and a lot of it was talking about loans. A lot of people out there, and I knew this already just from meeting with so many different people. I'll see their 401k, and there's a $10,000 or $20,000 loan on it. And, oh, okay. And it was just amazing. The article I read was talking about how such a high percentage have so much in 401k loans out there through the providers like Vanguard, Fidelity, or any of those big ones, that most participants have some type of a loan on there. And that's what the article was about, that is why your 401k is bleeding, right? Meaning you're constantly paying back loans on there, so not a lot of your money is actually going into work and being invested for you. A lot of it's just going back to pay back the money we took out, right?
Yeah.
So I think a 401k loan is a great option to have. If something happens and you need access to cash, it's a great option to have that as an option. But I just don't think it's not meant to be used as a piggy bank. That's always been my thought. Call me right or wrong, but I always have thought a 401k, an IRA, any of those types of investment vehicles, you only put money in there that you can let sit for retirement. That has always kind of been my goal. And again, I'm a financial planner, so I'm saying we should have cash, right? We should have other investments. We should have other things where if we needed to tap into our assets to cover a hard time, we should have other means. Now, obviously, if rubber meets the road and we got nowhere else to go, then that is an option to have. So my biggest thing with the 401k loans, I would say it's something you don't want to touch. And they're making it easier and easier to take loans now. And so, everyone is pulling from it like a piggy bank each month to pay their bills sometimes. And that's not what they were used for. The whole point of the 401k, in my opinion, is to supplement retirement income when you're retired. So always think of it as a long-term investment. You don't want to be dipping through it, especially in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. And, that's why a lot of people that end up getting ready to retire don't have as much in there as they think they should. It's because they pulled from it every few years or every year, right? We're constantly paying back loans. So the people that we have helped successfully retire have a large amount in their 401k and have done financial planning where they have other means to cover events like, you got to put a new roof on, you got to put tires in the car, things like that. You don't want to have to dip right into the 401k.
Yeah. Wow. In other words, leave your 401k in there, leave the money in there, and let it do its job.
Don't think about touching it. Don't think about thinking about touching it, right?
Best thing to do. You're listening to the Financial Beat with Logan Sadler. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call if you'd like to have a conversation about 401ks or anything else related to your finances. 888-823-PLAN. That conversation won't cost you a penny, and there is no obligation involved at all. We're talking about frequently asked questions about 401ks, and here's another one that I'm sure you get a lot. How about target date funds? Are they good options for most people?
You know what I would say is for most people, when you're first getting into the 401k, it's not a bad place to be, right? They typically have 2025 fund or 2060 fund, or those are what target dates are for those of you people that don't know. Basically, it's just kind of a target of when you plan to retire. Those are great for when you're starting out and don't have many options, don't know where to put your money, you don't know which funds to pick from. You could pick one based off kind of your rough retirement age, and it could be a good spot. Where I would say they're not great is I had a client the other day. It was funny, we were talking, and they had put together about $1 million. They had just shy of $2 million essentially put away in retirement, all in 401ks. They were 61 years old. There was two couples. There were a couple. I'm sorry. There was two of them, not two couples. And basically, they'd done really well putting away money. And it was funny because they were in a 2020 retirement fund. And it was funny because we were talking through that, and they said, "Oh, we're pretty conservative, and we're in the target date fund of 2020 or 2021 fund, so it's already really conservative." And I go, okay, so I said, "Here's why I don't like those, because bonds and things of that sort haven't performed well. I think we can find other assets that can produce more safety as well as more income, and we can do this with your market money." And they go, "Oh yeah, we don't like bonds either." And it was like, "Well, are you aware that in the target date fund that you're currently in, I would highly venture to bet you're over 60% in bonds, right?" And they go, "Well, no, it's just a target date fund." And I go, "Well, yeah, but if you look at what the target date fund holds, as you get more and more conservative, there's not many other options in there, so they just put it in bonds, right?" So It was funny because they weren't really aware of that because of how it was invested. They were like, "Oh, you're right, I've been in bonds. I'm in a target date bond fund that's been down 10% over this last year. I thought that was my safe money," right? So that's the only time I would say target date funds for advanced planning are just not a great option. I think they're really for more of the people that aren't super savvy when they first get in the 401k and are just looking for a good long-term bet to put money in. The target date fund can make sense, but for a lot of people, you're looking for more financial planning and more asset allocation and location and investment planning. It's just hard to get all you need out of a target date fund.
Okay, we're talking about 401k questions here, questions that Logan frequently gets. How about contribution amounts? Should you just contribute enough to max out the company match, or should you put in more?
Yeah, that's another hot question. That's a good question to ask, and I would say I do get this question quite a bit where it depends on the situation, Ron, on this one really, because there's some clients where we have significantly high income. We need to reduce taxes as much as possible. So yeah, you might want to put the max in, right? A lot of you guys aren't aware that if you didn't have a 401k, in an IRA, your maximum limits are $6,000 and $7,000. So if you're under age 50, you can only do $6,000 a year. If you're over age 50, you can only do $7,000 a year. In the 401k, if you're under 50, you can do $19,500 plus the match. So you just have such an opportunity to put away a huge hunk of money, and it's such a great option to save tax-wise, as well as they have Roths and all the other stuff in there as well. But it's such an important time to really calculate how much you should be doing, and a lot of that's based off your income and what you're trying to accomplish. But I would always say the minimum you should be putting in is you should be putting in the minimum of the company match. If you could do more, I would definitely recommend it. And then we also, once you're maxing out, we could look at things like real estate or other investments and things of that sort. But I would definitely say do at least the match, because it's so important to start saving for that next phase of your life, which is called retirement.
Okay, I just want to ask you one more question here in regards to 401ks. If you have a Roth option in your 401k, should you take advantage of it or not?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of you guys don't know that, but a lot of the 401ks nowadays are coming around where most of them have a good Roth option on there. For those of you that don't know, traditional 401ks are the standard ones that obviously grow tax deferred, right? Deferred meaning you're not paying tax now, but at some point you're going to pay taxes down the road. And we do a lot of advanced tax planning with clients, like Roth conversions, a lot of different location of assets to maximize tax-free money. And one of of the things we found is most people don't have enough tax-free money. They have, $2 million in their traditional 401k, which is great, but the problem is now we got to navigate taxes throughout the next 20 or 30 years of retirement. The Roth 401k is just like a Roth IRA, where any money you put in, you don't get a tax break on, but it grows 100% tax-free. So the Roth 401k, to me, yes, some money should be going into Roth. Some of you, it might be all of it. You should be maxing out your 401k Roth, all of the max, or some of it you might be putting a mix between the two. And to me, it really depends on tax situation and how much wiggle room we have there. And that's really what we do with a lot of our clients when they're coming in and we're kind of getting closer to retirement, I should say. We'll really kind of navigate and say, okay, here's where we should be putting more or less money in the 401k or the Roth option. But I always say I've never met anybody that I've ever dealt with. 100% of the time, I've never met anybody that says, man, I got too much tax-free money. It's that normally doesn't happen. But it's very important to kind of know the options between the two, and also find out if your 401k even offers a Roth is a huge bonus.
There are lots of people out there today listening to the show who may have other questions about 401ks and may want to know exactly how they work and what all the options are. I would suggest that you call the number I'm about to give you here and get a discovery meeting going with Logan Sadler. And what can they expect when they have a discovery meeting with you, either via Zoom or in one of your offices?
Yeah, I mean, if you're one of those people out there listening to the show right now and you have a 401k, whether it's an old 401k or you're over the age of 59 and a half, and you've got a good sum in there and you're really looking to get more purposeful and get a plan together for retirement, that's exactly what that discovery meeting is for. And we're going to take a deep dive into, yes, your 401k, but obviously real estate, other assets you have, as well as putting together more of a full financial picture. I always like to ask people, if I showed you what the next 20 years of your life could potentially look like, would you make better decisions today? Well, obviously, yeah, you would if you knew it was coming, right? So that's a lot of what we do as your financial advisor. We're there to map out that next 20 years to help us make the decisions we need to today. So if you're interested in that, give us a call for our discovery meeting. We'll sit down, take a deep dive into you and your family's needs, and see if we could bring some value to your retirement plan.
888-823-PLAN. That is 888-823-PLAN. You can have your own conversation with Logan Sadler, Vice President and Chief Investment Officer at Regary Financial. Wherever you are in Southern California, please consider making that phone call right now. 888-823-PLAN. Simply leave your message with your name and phone number. You'll get a call back, and then you'll be on your way. You will have taken the second step. First step you needed to take was listening to this show. And second step, go ahead and call that number, 888-823-PLAN. You're listening to the Financial Beat. Ron Stutz here along with Logan Sadler. There's more coming up in just a moment.
We all know Congress has approved trillions of dollars in spending the past year with stimulus packages, infrastructure plans, and other programs. It's all on top of the tens of trillions of dollars of debt our nation already owes. Yet we're living with some of the lowest tax rates in history. Now, how long do you think that's going to last? Learn how you can prepare for future tax implications by watching Logan Sadler of Regary Financial's exclusive webinar, How Tax Planning Changes Through the 4 Stages of Retirement. Just text the word ADVICE to the number 21000, and we'll text you back a link to the webinar right away. Text ADVICE to 21000 and make sure you don't have to pay a cent more in taxes than you have to. To access the free webinar right now, text ADVICE to 21000. We talk a lot about creating a better 401k, but are we actually taking steps to do so? Maybe it's time to stop talking the talk and start walking the walk. By texting the word ADVICE to 21000, Logan Sadler can provide you with his 401k action steps, a guide that provides you with powerful information that could potentially save you thousands in taxes and fees and put you one step ahead when it comes to your retirement. So text the word ADVICE to the number 21000 today. For this special report, text the word ADVICE to the number 21000.
Did you know music is good for the heart? A study at a university in Italy showed that music helps promote a better cardiovascular system. But we also know that a sound financial plan is good for peace of mind. Keep listening to the Financial Beat so we can help you find a plan that both your head and your heart can agree on.
Welcome back to more of the Financial Beat. The beat goes on, as they say. Logan Sadler on the radio every week with this show. Also with podcasts, a YouTube channel, all sorts of ways you can find out more about your financial situation. I would suggest the best way is to arrange to have a conversation with Logan one-on-one. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call to get a discovery meeting going. 888-823-PLAN. Logan Sadler, of course, works with 3 different generations of some of the client families. Many of those clients have been with the firm for more than 25 years. And, of course, they have great partnerships with local CPAs, attorneys, real estate agents, mortgage lenders, even Medicare specialists, anybody having anything to do with your money to help offer a well-rounded guidance in all things financial for their clients. Get a discovery meeting at no cost, no obligation, 888-823-PLAN. Hey, Logan, you like quizzes? You want to do a quiz on the radio here?
I do like them as long as I get a passing score.
Can you get an A+ on our retirement planning quiz?
Well, let's hope so. Let's see.
And this is for everybody out there. Don't dread this as much as you hated hearing these words as a kid, but it's time for a pop quiz. We're going to put retirement planning preparedness under the microscope with 5 critical questions to which you need to know the answers. And this is for everybody listening to this show today. You need to know these things. So sharpen your pencil, and let's see how ready you are for retirement. Okay? At what age should people start saving for retirement? And this is multiple choice, Logan.
Okay.
At what age should they start saving for retirement? A, when you begin working. B, after you buy your first home. Or C, when you paid off all your debts?
Man, that is a great question to ask, and I would say it's funny because this is actually, believe it or not, some of you might think it's a no-brainer, but this is actually a controversial topic here where my opinion might not be well received, but my opinion on this, Ron, is I've seen it work time and time again, is where it is option A. You should begin starting to save for retirement when you begin working.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just so important because, yeah, you could say, hey, after I get my first home, I'll start saving. But what we've seen and what studies show is most people won't, right? Once you're not used to saving, you just don't start saving. As well as when you paid off all your debt, what you do is a lot of the times is we just either spend money somewhere else or we're not in the habit of getting a savings plan together. Obviously, there is there is exclusions for each of these, but my biggest thing is when you're 19, 20, 25 years old, 30 years old, whatever age you are when you're starting to work, hopefully not 30, but whenever you do decide to start working, it's so important. If you get right on the topic of saying, hey, you know what, I got to save 5% of my paycheck right away into my retirement, or I got to save 10%, whatever the number you can afford to do, once you start that and slowly increase it, you will always forever be in that routine of saving. And I can say for myself, that has always been my philosophy with myself and with our clients, and it's really worked out well to where we just get in the habit of right away where saving isn't an option, it's just what we have to do.
Well, that's a good habit to get into for sure. Which of these is the best estimate of how much income you're going to need in retirement? A, 50% of your current income. B, 85% of your current income. C, 100% of your current income, or D, none of the above.
Well, I know everyone's hoping for the 100%, right? C would be the option everybody wants, right? You want exactly what you're making in retirement.
Yeah.
And I have seen that work out well for some clients. We have some clients that make exactly what they're making or a lot more in some cases. But the reasonable answer there is most people need between 70 to 80% or so of their income in retirement. So I would go with option B. 85% is a great number to kind of judge things off of. Of course, depending on what type of envisionment you have for retirement, some might need more or less, but that is a pretty safe number, I would think, to where we can get by in retirement and still live the life we live. So I'll go with option B there, Ron.
And the one thing I would add to that is it's all individual. Everybody's situation is unique. There's no one size fits all when it comes to retirement planning. And
you're right.
Nobody knows that better than Logan Sadler. Which of these do you find that retirees fear the most? A, not leaving enough to the kids. B, running out of money. Or C, needing nursing home care.
Yeah, that's a great one. I would say, some people aren't worried at all about leaving money to the kids. Some people might think, man, that sounds selfish or that doesn't sound right. But what's funny is there's a lot of clients we deal with out there where the kids, obviously, yeah, we'd like to leave money to the kids, but our number one priority is taking care of ourselves, right? This is our nest egg. We've worked our whole lives for it, and we've helped the kids out throughout the years. Yeah. So I would say the most common is not that. Now, there is another side to that. I do have some clients that would rather, live very, very modest and a very not necessarily fun life just so they can leave money behind. I have seen that. But I would say the most common is definitely running out of money. Yeah. It's still number one time and time again. As you look at these surveys, most people, they have the biggest fear of running out of money in retirement. And I always tell people that don't think that's a fear, let's talk through that, right? I mean, you're 85 years old and you have nothing, right? You have no more money. That is terrifying, right? I mean, you got to hope you have some kids that could take you in. You got to hope you win the lotto. You got to hope a lot of things, right? You got to hope. You don't really have much control out of things. So I would say time and time again, running out of money is one of the biggest fears out there. And that's one of the things that we help our clients solve for all the time is, hey, here is this investment plan. We have some guaranteed money in there. That's why we're big believers in guaranteed income. You look at things like Social Security, pensions, and annuities. We think those three things should be a very, very high percentage of your income in retirement to make sure that we have money that's going to last forever.
Yeah. Okay, we're doing this retirement pop quiz today, and most people don't like the sound of the words pop quiz because it brings back bad memories from school. But you're listening to the Financial Beat, of course, with Logan Sadler, and we're asking questions about things people should know before they head off into retirement. And here is another question for you, Logan. Which of these examples best represents a diversified retirement plan? A mix of 60% stocks and 40% bonds. B, 3 rental homes in different neighborhoods along with a significant amount of cash in the bank. C, 10 to 12 different mutual funds. Or D, none of the above.
What's funny is, again, might be unpopular opinion here, but I'm going to say none of the above. A 60-40 stock mix is great for a portion of the portfolio, but that's not a retirement plan, right? In the old days, that might have got you by, but in today's world, I don't think that is enough to get you through retirement if that's your only asset. The rental homes, I'm a huge fan of real estate. I know a lot of advisors tell you real estate's bad, but I think real estate is a great investment for a lot of clients, but typically, just 3 homes as your only retirement income might not be enough. And I don't know how much cash you're counting in the bank, but, and then 10 to 12 different mutual funds, that doesn't mean much to me because they might be 10 to 12 different mutual funds tracking the same thing, right? Yeah. Might be all 10, 12 tracking the S&P or whatever it is. So, I would say a mixture of all of these would be the best version of a retirement plan where it does diversification, right? You want to have 60% in the market, 40% in bonds. You want to have some in rentals if you can, or real estate. You also want to have different mutual funds or different ETFs for market money, as well as you want in there some other income producing vehicles, possibly annuities or pensions or Social Security, a lot of other assets you want to add in. So I always like to say my whole goal for our clients, again, if you're coming in here with a hefty amount in 401ks and investment accounts and things of that sort, we should be able to create between 4 to 5 to 6 different income streams and diversifications in retirement to where we're now set up for the next 30 or 40 years. If whatever type of market events are thrown at us, our income's going to be the same.
All right, let's have a big round of applause because we have neared the end of the retirement pop quiz here. All right,
how are we doing so far?
You're doing great. I can't speak for everybody out there listening to the show. I have no idea, but it certainly is good food for thought. Last question here, Logan. Again, multiple choice. To make sure you don't run out of money in retirement, only withdraw blank percent from your portfolio each year. 1%, 4%, 6%, or find a different strategy altogether. What do you think?
This is funny. So basically the rule of thumb on this one is going to be option B, right? Option B is typically, if you look up the rule of 4% online, you'll find that a lot of people say, hey, it's been great. It's going to continue to work forever. A lot of people say the 4% rule is done. It's less, might be 2 or 3%. You can find all different types of articles on it. But essentially, 4% typically is a safe amount of money that you could withdraw out of an account, depending on how it's invested, that should be able to last for the majority of your retirement or your whole retirement. And that, so for example, you got $1 million put away in your 401ks. Essentially, you should be able to draw right around $40,000 per year out of that account, and it should last the rest of your life, right? Depending on how it's invested, of course. If you put that money in the bank and it doesn't earn anything, that 4% rule won't work, right? If you put it in something way too aggressive and it continuously goes down and loses a bunch of money, then yeah, that 4% rule is not going to work. But typically 4% is typically enough. I have some clients, believe it or not, Ron, where they think 8% is good, right? Where they're saying, if I put away $1 million, I should be able to take 80 grand a year off of it out of the market. Well, the problem with that is that's a significant amount to hope to return over a period of time. And if we have a good market, yeah, that might work. But most of the time, when you look at market conditions, that is too much money, depending on, of course, how you're invested, where you have a higher chance of running out of money. So I would say option B is a safer amount where you could find around a 4% withdrawal amount is a good number. I have some clients, though, where with different strategies and different investment plans, we're able to draw a lot more than that out. Just depends on what our tolerance is, what investments we have, what assets we have, and all that. But rule of thumb, I would say the 4% rule is still a safe rule of thumb to go off of. And I don't plan all around rule of thumbs, but it does hold some weight.
Okay, well, a lot of things to think about when it comes to passing this retirement pop quiz, and I would dare say there are some folks out there who got the wrong answers with several of these questions.
Safe bet.
So that's all the more reason why you need to call Logan Sadler and have a conversation about your financial plan, getting to and through retirement. And Logan, I'm going to recommend a discovery meeting, as we always do. And what happens in that discovery meeting? What do folks need to do in order to get ready?
So basically for the discovery meeting, you just actually have to call the number Ron's going to give you guys here in a minute, and you're going to leave a voicemail. And basically what we'll do is someone from my team will reach back out to you first thing Monday morning, and we're going to set up that discovery meeting. To the discovery meeting, you're going to bring in a fresh mind. And if you're married, you and your spouse come in or do a Zoom and basically bring your financial statements with you, have an idea of where your assets are and things of that sort. And we're going to have a great conversation centered around how you're envisioning that retirement. We're going to do our own retirement pop quiz and go through each of these kind of topics we talked about and talk about a lot of what you're envisioning for retirement, what your experiences are with money, the markets, all that stuff, and really do a very good comprehensive overview centered around risk, centered around taxes, and centered around income to get a great picture of what that retirement plan is going to look like. So it all starts with that discovery meeting. If you're looking for a financial advisor, if you're getting close to retirement and looking for a good fit, give us a call. We'd love to sit down, spend an hour with you, and see if we can't bring some value and some insight to your retirement plan.
888-823-PLAN. That is 888-823-PLAN. Your number to call for Regary Financial with offices in Hemet and Redlands. You can arrange to have a conversation with Logan Sadler that's not going to cost a penny and not going to obligate you to do anything at all. In other words, no strings attached. 888-823-PLAN is your number. 888-823-PLAN. When you do have a conversation, you're going to have it with Logan Sadler, the same guy you hear on the radio show here. And I think you can tell that he's an easygoing guy. It's going to be a very pleasant conversation. You'll enjoy getting to know him, and he will certainly enjoy getting to know you too. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call. You're listening to the Financial Beat. I'm Ron Stutz along with Logan Sadler. There's more on the other side of this quick break.
Are you concerned about living too long? Do you worry about the cost of health care in the future? These are a few of the signs that permanent life insurance could be for you. Logan Sadler of Regary Financial will help you recognize the rest of the signs. Text the word advice to the number 21000 to download this free guide to understanding permanent life insurance. Text advice to 21000. Permanent life insurance isn't for everyone, but it could make a dramatic difference in your financial life. Text advice to 21000 to find out if that's the case.
What is your name?
I'm Arthur, King of the Britons.
What is your quest?
To get retirement ready.
What is the PE ratio on your portfolio's top grossing products?
I don't know that.
Don't get blown to bits by complex jargon. Let Logan help you over the bridge to a meaningful retirement.
You're listening to the Financial Beat with Logan Sadler, and often imitated but never duplicated Logan Sadler. That's what I like to say. He doesn't brag on himself. I have to do that for him. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call if you'd like to have a conversation with Logan. I get a chance to have a conversation with Logan every week on this show, and I think it's time that more people took advantage of that opportunity. In order to do that, call this number, 888-823-PLAN. 888-823-PLAN. You can get a discovery meeting with Logan Sadler and find out more about your financial situation, come to a better understanding of what you're invested in or not invested in. If you don't have a plan, it's time to put one together. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call for a discovery meeting with Logan Sadler. It can be via Zoom or maybe in one of the convenient offices in Hemet and Redlands at Regary Financial. Logan, time to go to the mailbag here. We got some great questions this week.
Perfect.
First one is from Roland in San Jacinto. And Roland says, Logan, what rate of return should I be getting on my investments these days? I haven't been too pleased with my accounts for the last several months.
Yeah, great question there, Roland. I appreciate you writing in, and a very valid one at that, right? And this one is a hard question for me to answer just because it really depends on what assets you're in, right? Obviously, cash, we know that those rate of returns haven't been great over the last few years, but we know the market, if you're talking specifically and related to the market, we do know that it's been a tough start. Things have been a lot more bumpy than a lot of people were hoping for. So I would say returns have been mixed across the boards when you look at, anything from fixed income to equities to small cap, large cap, all of that has been kind of mixed around. So I would say if you're one of those people that is getting closer to retirement or worried about risk, it's definitely something you should really be having a conversation with an investment person or investment advisor or planner to make sure that you're allocated properly. Rate of return, though, is something that really what we do is look at your investments. There's some that have just been performing, not great to the start of the year with the S&P and the Dow and all that stuff, having a hard time going throughout this whole year. So I would say it's really important to put a pencil, or it's hard to put a number on exactly what investments you should be in or what the rate of return should be. But I think more than ever, Roland, it's so important that we understand what investments we have and kind of understand where things could be going if the market continues to spiral downwards, or if the market bounces back. Where will we be and what risk do we have associated with those investments is, I think, more of the question we should be answering. And I would love to take a little deeper dive and kind of comb through what investments you have and give you a little bit more of an explanation on how those performed and why they performed that way.
Hey, Logan, the number, again, for Roland to call and for anybody to call, 888-823-PLAN, 888-823-PLAN. Got another question here from Rita in Colton, and Rita says, I'm 61 years old and have never had a financial advisor. If I made it this far on my own, surely I can make it the rest of the way, right?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rita. I do appreciate you writing in as well. And you're not alone. What's funny is there is a lot of people out there that do manage their investments or have their investments, they control them and do just well, right? They do just fine. But there is a lot of clients out there where most of them don't actually hire an advisor until retirement because, like we talk about on this show, Rita, you might have done perfectly fine throughout this time frame, but this new territory you're going into called retirement is totally different. We always use the analogy of climbing the mountain, right? Most people don't fail going up Mount Everest. They fail coming down. And that's what we call retirement, is the distribution phase, where now we're getting ready. Instead of you adding money to your retirement, we're going to be taking money from the retirement. So we got to make sure we're properly allocated, have the right risk, have the right income producing vehicles and all that stuff, as well as managing taxes, as well as estate planning. So typically, at your point you're coming into right now, Rita, is typically when an advisor like us that specialize in retirement planning could really bring a lot of value to you in your retirement, as well as when you look at investment planning. A lot of people don't know, but there's a lot of investments out there that you can't get by yourself. There's things like cash flow annuities, accumulation annuities, fixed index, fixed annuities, universal life insurance, all these other tools out there, as well as some private equity funds, private traded REITs, all that stuff you can't even get on your own. You have to have an advisor to get those. So a lot of those assets I mentioned are great when it comes to retirement planning, income planning, all those things. So I think right now, Rita, is a really great time, if you haven't met with an advisor, to give an advisor a call. Hopefully you call us and hopefully you enjoy the show. But really, now is the time to really get centered around an advisor and find one that you could work with that has all these different assets. Because you're right, if you're just going to buy a 60-40 bond to stock portfolio, you don't really need an advisor for that. And if you have an advisor where that's all they're doing, they're not using all the value and all the tools they should be using to get you a successful retirement. So there's my answer, Rita.
Okay, Rita, thank you very much for the question. And again, call that number 888-823-PLAN if you'd like to arrange a conversation with Logan and get more specifics. Our last question today is from Lisa in Fallbrook. And Lisa says, I've been listening to your show for a long time, and I also enjoy watching your YouTube videos. And Lisa says, my husband says he wants to work for another 8 to 9 years, but he's already 64 years old, and I think that sounds insane. I think we have enough money for him to retire sooner, but he says he just wants to keep working anyway. Is there any point in debating this, or should I just let him work forever? And just for the record, I prefer for us to travel a lot.
Well, Lisa, I appreciate you writing as well. And yeah, it sounds like you're in a tough spot there. It sounds like you got a husband that is just a real good hard worker, and you're ready to put your years of work to rest and go enjoy it, right? So it sounds like you're on two different paths there. But
two people who are on two totally different pages.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I run across this all the time. You're not alone there. I'm working with actually three people that are coming on board with us right now are kind of in a similar predicament where they're either in the middle of this or just on the tail end of it, where the husband worked longer than they might have wanted to, or longer than the wife had wanted to. So I definitely have worked through this before. What I always like to start with, Rita, or Lisa, I'm sorry, is that your husband is probably one of those guys that's just real used to working hard, and a lot of the times doesn't understand a clear picture of what his retirement would look like. I always like to tell people it's amazing when you put pen to paper and if you save well and put yourself in a good position, what your retirement could look like. By putting assets together and showing, hey, if you kept working, it would increase your income by this much. If you retired right now, here's what it would look like. If you retired next year, here's what it would look like. Kind of charting out that course typically helps that person that's continuing to work. It typically helps them go, you know what? We'll be just fine if we retire. We could do this. I can get by on that. Or I could work less hours and get by. I think having that conversation is a little bit more meaningful than just saying, hey, come and meet with this guy. We're going to pull the plug. You're going to retire type thing, right? I think working through it is typically the best way to do it. And we do have some clients that, yes, they continue to work because that's what they know. But you want to make sure you're in a position where you don't have to work. And I think a lot of people don't know that they'd be just fine if they retired. A lot of them just work because they're afraid that they might run out of money or didn't save properly. But I think it's very important to give us a call. We'll get that discovery meeting started, and we can kind of take a deep dive in to see what your situation is, Lisa, and see if we can't get you guys retired, get you traveling, and really kind of find a balance between the two possibly.
Wow, some great questions today from our listeners. And Logan, I know that you would love to meet with each one of those folks individually, either via Zoom or in one of your convenient offices. What can they expect when they get together with you?
Yeah, at our discovery meeting, it's probably one of my favorite things to do is meeting new people. Again, whether they decide to come on board with our firm or not, it is just such a great opportunity for us to really get face to face with listeners and really kind of get to know each other from, yes, a financial aspect, but also from a personal aspect, and take a deep dive into what it is you're trying to accomplish. And I always tell people, most people are surprised when they come in and meet with us because I don't have a hidden agenda. We're not here to push a product or push this or that. What we want to push is planning. That's our biggest thing, is by making sure we have a plan put together that fits your risk tolerance, where we have looked at risk, taxes, estate planning, healthcare planning. We've looked at your investments. Everything now is dialed in, and we have all these different asset classes, all these different account types put in the best situation possible to now chart out our course over the next 30 years. That's really our goal when clients decide to come on board with us, is to accomplish that. But it all starts at that discovery meeting. So if you're interested in getting a comprehensive retirement plan put in place, if you are, over the ages of 55 years old and getting close to retirement and looking to get a great retirement plan together, give us a call. I'd love to spend an hour with you on Zoom or in one of our offices.
888-823-PLAN, 888-823-PLAN. Please, if you haven't written that number down yet, do it right now. And the best thing to do is just go ahead and call it right now, and then you don't have to rely on your memory. 888-823-PLAN. For some of us, our memory is not the same as it used to be, that's for sure. So, again, 888-823-PLAN. That number is for Regari Financial, 2 convenient offices, one in Hemet, the other in Redlands. And wherever you are in Southern California, You don't even have to come to one of the offices to have a conversation with Logan. You can do it via Zoom if you'd like. It's absolutely free. There is no obligation involved at all. 888-823-PLAN. Logan, I've enjoyed being with you today. You passed out a lot of good information, provided everybody with a lot of food for thought, and I know you're going to get a lot of phone calls and get to know some of these folks out there.
Well, that's always the goal. Love meet with each and every one of you guys from the radio show as well as our other avenues through our events and things of that sort. At the end of the day, this radio show is just here to provide some value to you guys out there listening. As always, we appreciate the support, and like I said, hopefully you make that phone call and come in and meet with us. If not, we appreciate you listening to the show, and guess what? We're going to be back here next week with another one, so look forward to talking with you guys next week.
Join us for the next edition of the Financial Beat with Logan Sadler.
The information provided is for educational purposes only and is not intended as investment advice for anyone. All information discussed is believed to be from reliable sources. However, we make no representation as to its completeness or accuracy. The views presented today are those of BD Financial Group and do not necessarily represent the views of Alpha Star Capital Management, LLC. The opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and do not constitute financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult with your financial professional before executing any financial strategy. Investment advisory and financial planning services are offered through Alpha Star Capital Management, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Alpha Star and BD Financial Group are independent entities. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of the firm by the Commission, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability.
It seems like today there are so many places to get your music. With new streaming services popping up left and right, it can leave you wondering, where's the best place to start? It's a lot like financial planning. It seems like everyone has something to say when it comes to your plan. If you're looking for a financial advisor who's willing to listen to your needs and goals, then call Rigeri Financial. They take their fiduciary responsibilities seriously to help you make decisions that are in your best interest. So call today to start a conversation. 888-823-PLAN. That's 888-823-7526.